Go live. Here we go.
All right.
Oh, yeah, here we go. Where are we? Sonny, give us a background. Where are we?
We're in Mount Kelly, Tavistock. Fritz Dietz is about to go 50 back to start our session.
All right.
Take your marks. Yep. Oh, and I've got to run.
Oh, look at that underwater. He is absolutely blitzing. Fritz, he's in front. How's that underwater? Kurt, his stroke rate looks high. How is he through that last 25?
Yeah, big breakout and trying to come home strong. Starting to feel the burn a little bit now. Look at the legs starting to fade. He's got to hold it together over the final stages. Comes down under the flags for the tarts. It's tight on the wall. He's going to take it out. What's the time?
What do we got? Oh, Fritzy.
26.43.
Fritzy!
26.4.
Mate, there it is. That's the call we're all deserved.
How old, Fritz? How old is he?
Whoa.
Sonny, how old is Fritz?
Fritz is 18.
Nuts.
He
Pretty happy with that?
He recently went 26-1 to win the Adam Peaty meet. His PB is 25.8. That was really quick.
Yeah.
That's like 0.6 of his best.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
he keeps his head nice and still. He's like he was looking really good. Even his breakout, his underwater. I liked it. He was first in 20 meters, and like Brett says, if you're first in 20, you're going to win that 50.
I'm going to give him one bit of advice.
Go on.
Vitamin D. He looks like he needs a bit more vitamin D.
The sun's only just come out in the UK. The sun's only just come out in the UK.
Oh,
Yeah.
mate. I
Oh,
love it.
Fritz, what a name.
I'm going to get back to coaching. You guys have a good show. I'll see you in a bit.
All right.
Thanks, Sonny.
See you,
All
Sonny.
right. God bless the Queen. No, that was an American joke. That's what Biden said yesterday. He got all messed up in the head. Biden said, "Yeah,
Good old Joe."
You forgot that there's a king now. All right, what's happening, guys? We're back. Good to see you.
We're back. We're back.
Back to back. Yeah, thanks for having me back.
Mate. Well, look, you lead us off because you're epic yesterday. So get us into this.
Oh,
thing.
okay. Oh, okay. If you want me to, I think I had people call me and go, "Man, just shut up."
No.
Okay, so you want to? Why don't we start with? Why don't we start with France? They've finished their trials. You know, I think very similar to what Australia has done. No, like crazy surprises, but there's always that. I guess that added pressure now. The countdown's on. Home Olympics, and you know, a question for you guys both, but like just a little trivia question. How many medals, swimming medals, they win in Tokyo, France, in the pool?
Oh, that's a good trivia question. So total medals, France in the pool in Tokyo. I would say I'm going to go with 3.
Megs, what do you reckon?
I say 2.
Mate, 1. 1.
Ooh.
That's it. Flo silver in the 50 was it.
Oh, wow.
So that was pretty hectic. And then Rio was 2 silver and a bronze. Flo, you know, second again in the 50. The men's 4x1 got second. And Olivier got, third in the 10K. So it's not been great in the last decade for the French. But now you come this time round and, wow, you know, headlined by Leon. And for sure, it's going to be an epic 12 months for France. French sport, full stop. We've got the NBA draft here in Brooklyn next week. Victor Wembanyama, he's just, you know, a freak of nature, and everyone just can't stop talking about him. He'll go number 1 in the draft for the Spurs. And I think between Victor and what he'll bring to, you know, French sport and now what Leon's doing in the pool is going to be exciting. And you'd think with Leon, 2 and 4, he's favourite. You'd say right now to win in Paris next year. The 200 breaststroke, we can talk about that, him and Zach, but that's a toss-up. That's a coin flip. He could win that as well. Zach could win that. That's going to be a great showdown. And you think obviously Milak in the 200 fly, but he'll probably medal in the 200 fly as well. So there's, you know, probably 2 gold and at least a few more there. And then Maxime has been brilliant, hasn't he? 5,100 freestyle. He's consistent. He's building. It's every chance he could do anything in those 2. He's definitely going to be close to a podium finish. And then you throw in Flo as well. The men look okay. Do you reckon? I don't know much about French sporting background. Is Flo a chance at flying the flag in the opening ceremony? Do you think?
Oh, that's a pretty good call. Actually, I hadn't thought about that.
Let's get him.
You know, he's got a gold and a couple of silvers.
4 Olympics.
This would be his 4th. But I don't. Yeah, I guess he's in the talks. But I don't know what else is out there for French.
Yeah.
Maybe,
I'm sure there's plenty out there.
Maybe they give it to some famous soccer player. You know.
Yeah. Women's wise, Marie Wattel, just so consistent. Super. You know, she's awesome. 100 fly. She's always going to be thereabouts. I don't know much. I don't know about where the rest of the medals are going to come from for them. And equally, you know, she's a fantastic sprinter. She can go 1 lap. She can't really go 2. Relay wise, maybe the men's 4x1 medley at their absolute best. Maybe they can come close to a podium, but they're not right there with that rest of that depth. So it's a lot on Leon. And one really interesting point I want to make about Leon and just the way he's prepped, going there to Arizona with Bob, getting out of France in the lead up to the Olympics, in my opinion, masterstroke. All the pressure's on him. All the eyes are on him. I'd be staying out of France as much as I can if I was him, just to take the pressure off. He can walk the streets there and no one would know who he is in the US, mate. No one knows who Katie Ledecky is here in the US. Leah Thomas has got a bigger profile than she does. So, a masterstroke for Leon to be here in the US as much as possible, I think, because you see those home Olympics and Hawke, you've had a front row seat, obviously, in Sydney 2000. It is insane.
Yeah, a lot of pressure on him coming. I was slightly disappointed after his epic start to the meet. He went 2:06, and I just thought, we're gonna see some crazy swims this week, and he kind of pulled back a little bit. You know, his 400 IM was underwhelming, and I'd heard that he was kind of doing some training stuff in between and things like that. So, look, I think our expectations were probably higher than his. You know, he did what he had to do. He went in, he won events, he did the job. Bob said he was 50% rested, shaved, that sort of thing. And we made a bit of a joke of it. But the reality is he probably was pretty unrested, certainly unshaved. So there's a lot more in him. I think it kind of takes the pressure maybe off a little bit, not to be so epic in France right now. You don't go to France and break world records right now. You save that for the big show next year. And I think Bob made a kind of another masterful stroke, maybe holding him back a little bit there. But Megan, I was really impressed with the French commentary. I thought the French commentary was outstanding.
I just think, the French accent is pretty sexy, right? So
I don't know what they were saying, but it sounded good.
I had no idea
the
what they
whole
were saying.
package was awesome. The videos, the splits, everything they did was very professional.
Yeah.
It was super professional and it was really quite intriguing. I wanted to watch more. So really captured, the athletes and their stories, and you wanted more, which I think it's really hard to do in probably sport of swimming because there's so many events and sometimes, obviously events are longer. So trying to hold, an audience for that long, they did really well. I don't speak French, but I was still tuning in and still watched a bit of it. So I think with Leon though, 50% rested, yes, but I think it's actually quite smart going into Worlds. He's going to be favourites, absolutely, but he went fast in the 200 breaststroke, but kind of underwhelming in the other events, but took that pressure off for a little bit as well. So he hasn't shown, I don't think he's shown all his cards in the long course yet. I think he's maybe saving that. And I think it's a great little card to have up your sleeve of coming into Worlds without super expectations of swimming amazingly fast at trials. So
yeah,
I think I don't think we're going to see him swim slow at Worlds. That's for sure. No,
I think he's primed for that. Speaking of venues, where are you coming from today? Look at the backdrop today. What's happening?
So my partner is actually, speaking of France, he's watching the Tour de France thing on Netflix at the moment.
He kicked you out of the main room.
So he just kicks me out of the main room and the nice artwork. So I am coming from a spare bedroom, but it's got nice lights. So we'll take
it. Does have good light. Yeah, it brings out the blue in your eyes. It looks good. It's all good. What's happening? Kurt, what are you saying?
I just want to finish off. We'll round out the French stuff just with Leon and the storytelling, as Meg was saying as well. But the story to get, Bob, who coached obviously Michael, the GOAT, to everything that he's done, and now he's going to coach another kid to supersede Michael, take that 400. He's going to take that 400 world record off him, it's a fantastic, it's a fantastic storyline. And for him to go to France and go to a home Olympics, I don't see how he's not going to be the Ian Thorpe of Sydney 2000. It's there for him. It's on a plate. And if he does what he does, he's going to be right up there with Victor Wembanyama as two of the biggest, young superstars in French sport. My sister-in-law is French. I get to Paris a little bit, and I was there. He must have been in December. I love the French. They're not all happy that the Olympics are coming, that's for sure. A lot of them are filthy. And I think the one thing where the love of the French people comes, especially now in the modern era of, the woke world, where people are so afraid to speak their mind in case of getting cancelled or things like that. Hey, the French still speak their mind, trust me. And
I'm sure they feel like that now. But you know what? The French always come through. They put on a show. I mean, how just romantic will the Olympics feel to be in Paris? How epic will it feel? It'll be a spectacle. I mean, they'll do it right when the time is right, and everyone will have a great time being there. And it'll be the place to be next year for sure. I'm hoping we can get there. It's just it's going to be 2 weeks of just madness.
Well, I got some connections, so we'll see. But a lot of the Parisian locals are looking forward to getting out and Airbnb their places to make a ton of money. So,
okay.
They'll see it as a business opportunity. But we've got some contacts, so if you want to go to Paris, mate, leave it with me. Leave it with me.
Beautiful.
All right, from France to Australia. Day 5 of our trials down there in Melbourne. The racing, great racing, not as incredible as last time, but still some brilliant swims. We'll go through them. Why don't we start?
Let me start with this real quick.
What do you want to do?
Just before we get into that, I did have an interview last night. It was last night for me, so it's like morning here in Boston, but it was the morning for the Aussies, which is now nighttime for the Aussies. So it was the same day for the Aussies. It's the next day for me. So I'm trying to get it all in my head here. But anyway, I got a message from Rowan Taylor, said he could do a quick interview. I jumped up out of bed, I hit record, and I kind of hit him with some questions. I was probably a little too strong. Like I just started to ask him things that were on my mind. I didn't really put a lot of thought into it. And I hit him with some questions that were probably a little strong, but some of them were interesting in terms of the way that he had to kind of manifest an answer for some of these questions. And one of them was about the training venue, and you're about to go into what happened, a couple hours ago, where there was a massive malfunction with the pad and they weren't sure who ended up winning the 100 freestyle. And it goes into my question of like, why have it at this venue? It was a fair question. It's a tough question, but it's a fair question. Probably not fair for the head coach because he doesn't make that decision himself. But it's just an interesting kind of little tidbit that I wanted to put out there. If anyone wants to go back and watch that interview, it's up now. There's some interesting stuff. It's 15 minutes, just a nice little hit. But I did hit him with some questions that were a little tough. I just wanted to say that.
Yeah, it was good. And I think the replies, it was a package deal with World Short Course Champs. So they had World Short Course Champs obviously late last year in the outdoor pool, epic venue. They've had the Commonwealth Games there, and and so I think they did a package deal. So they were stuck there and they had to do it. But it's an interesting one, and just with that as well, and Queensland and the Queensland swimmers, and got a little bit of feedback about that, especially for Americans trying to understand what Queensland is. This is the best way I can explain it to our US viewers as well. Yeah. Queensland is Texas. Full stop. Yeah. That's what it is. It's just Texas, but it's up north instead of down south. Everyone talks smack about it and how bad it is, and then they all move there. So that's what they do. And in saying that, I'm pretty sure Rowan's moved there as well. He's moved to the sunny coast. And Swimming Australia is moving there as well. So Swimming Australia was originally based in Canberra, which would be the equivalent of being based in, DC here. There we go. Here's the map.
There's the map. The green, we're looking at the green here. That's Queensland.
Yeah, the green.
And,
Bright green.
And so it's weather based as well. But with the Olympics coming to Brisbane 2032, which is in southern Queensland, it's a no-brainer to move all operations up there. And so the weather is fantastic, and I'm just intrigued with Brisbane with that Olympics, how the venue is going to work, because they've got the Sleeman Sports Complex out there at Chandler. That's been there since the Commonwealth Games in 1982. We nicknamed that pool the Dungeon because it's just so dark and it's just one big concrete block. But obviously they're not going to spend the money redoing that venue. And what I've been told is that they're going to do like an event centre at Roma Street Station, which is in the heart of Brisbane. And they're just going to do a drop-in at the moment. I think that's what they're going to do, is going to do a drop-in 50 pool there in a big events.
That'd be fun.
So you can get the train. So the train comes into this event centre. You can get it, get in from anywhere around. And so that's what I heard. So that's why Queensland is so popular. But unlike Texas, you still have to pay your taxes in Queensland. We have the same tax rate. Doesn't change varying states. So there you go. That's a whole nother thing. But
that's a whole other show.
Yeah, that's a whole other show. That and the metric system.
Whole other show here, Oliver. Come on, Oliver. Don't start, buddy.
All right, let's go. Day 5. We'll just go through it. So 200 breaststroke. Abby Harkin takes it out to a pet event. 223.93. She was only 0.32 off her best. This is the second time ever she's gone under 224. Listen, she's done the 50, 100, 200 triple. I'm happy for her. No Jenna Strosh, obviously world championship medalist from last year. She's out for the season injured. There was no Chelsea Hodges. She's gone for the year as well with that second hip operation that she's recovering from. So I felt for Harkin because there's a lot of pressure on her because there's no one else. So for her to come to this meet and swim the way she did, she's a 200 breaststroker, and that's her pet event. And to swim that time, I think it'd be good for her. But there's a lot of pressure on her in this year. And I think she was a little bit emotional knowing that maybe, a little bit upset that she didn't have her rivals there. She felt maybe a little bit guilty. But she can only control what she can control. And, I'm happy for her to get the 51, 2 triple, and more racing for her, more experience. And it's only going to make her better come, world championships.
Yeah, Megan, I was surprised at the lack of depth in a way. Like I knew it wasn't going to be deep, but like some of the events like this is just there's massive drop off in the breaststroke, right?
Yeah, especially, and you would have seen it in the men's 200 breaststroke, and we'll talk about that as well. Like Stubblety-Cook, I think it was 7 seconds or 8 seconds to the next competitor, and we saw it in the 200 backstroke with Kaylee McEwen, like 2:03 and then 2:10. And you've seen it in the women's 200 meter breaststroke there. And Abby Harkin, all props to her. I think she actually said that she felt really emotional before that race. And the 200, she's suited much more to the 200. She had a great swim. Trains at St. Peter's, obviously, with Dean Boxall. Her boyfriend, Jack Cartwright, is actually swimming pretty well as well. So little cute little star couple there. But I think she probably has a lot of things going on in her head with the relay as well. I think like the 100 breaststroke, she won it, and they have to take someone, right? So she's probably a little bit kind of doesn't know where she stands, doesn't know what's going to happen with the relay, maybe does feel a little bit guilty and a bit emotional because that's a lot of pressure. You've got the whole Australian swim team and the country behind you, but you might not be, you're the fastest on paper, as in the relay, but I just think, I feel a bit bad for her in that 100 breaststroke, and I hope she realizes how good she really is, and not to have all that pressure kind of on herself. But she did the 200. I was really proud of her. 223. I hope she does. I hope she just busts out a big PB come Worlds. But yeah, Abby Harkin, big fan. She's a really good speaker and a really good athlete. I like her.
Yeah, good. Glad she came through then for them. They needed that. Otherwise, they were in some trouble.
Yeah.
Well, Kaylee's still got the best 200 breaststroke time of the season for an Australian. What she's done, Australian champs. And I feel for Abby. And I think what the Australian leadership team needs to do, they need to go to her and be like, you've got this medley relay spot. We need you to step up. Just let's deal with it right now. We need you to step up 100, 200, whatever it is. You just swim your best. You be the best possible effort that you can be. And whatever is. Don't I think for her confidence as well in that 100. And I think they'll do that. And, Hodges will come back next. Yeah, whatever happens. Hodges will be back next year, and we've already seen her recover from and what she can do after what she had 2 operations on one hip, and now she's got one on the other. So she knows the rehab, and she's a real tough egg, Chelsea as well. So she'll come back. Jenna will be back. She's at her best. She's a medal chance in the 200 as well. So,
Kurt, you know what I always found, swimming the 50 free, and I was dealing with hundreds of seconds and sitting on the verge of, am I going to make a cut? Am I going to get selected? You know what I always found the best solution for that was? Just swim fast. Just swim fast. Take it out of everybody's control. Put it in your control. You go post the time. Get it done. So when you say they needed to say this to her, they needed to say that, look, she had all the control in her hand. It's up to her. Just go out there and get it done, and ultimately that's what she needs to tell herself. Stop worrying about who's going to pick you and who's going to, am I going to make this time? Just go out there and swim as fast as you can and take it out of their hands, So that would be my advice to her. And
she's going to get 3 swims. She's going to get the 50, 100, 200. So she's going to get 3 swims there. She's going to get a swim in the medley relay regardless in the heats and probably the finals as well. So she's going to get a lot of racing, which is just ideal for her.
Did she make the cuts on any of those?
It's just the 2.
Well, 2, but who cares? Doesn't matter. She's in for the 2.
She did make the cut though, yeah.
She'll swim it all, and that'll be good. 200 back. Brad Woodward, 156.04. Solid swim by him. He did 155.95 in the heats. PBs, mate. Megs, you tell me. All you want to see is PBs. This guy, Commonwealth champ back in the day. He's been around a while now. Made his debut in 2018. He's from the Sunny Coast. Great to see someone from New South Wales again on the team under Adam Cable there at Sydney Olympic Park Aquatic Centre in that NSWIS hub. And then I think the big one from this one is Josh Edwards-Smith, and Megs can talk to me about this as well. 157.2, he really stung that final 50. And we've seen he went at 155 earlier this year. Does he go? I think that's the big question. Do you put him on the team or do you not? And in my heart of hearts, he's got to go. You got to stick him on this team.
Yeah, and I think you can see by those splits there, he had a bit of a stinger, 30.9, Josh Edwards-Smith. And the thing with Josh Edwards-Smith is confidence, and he's been 155. So Joshy knows how to swim a good 200 back. And I think Woodward, props to Woodward. I really like that. I really like him as an athlete. He can swim fast. He's got a good 100, which transfers into good, easy speed for that 200 back. And he's got really good skills. If you saw that last turn, they went in pretty much together. And the difference was half a body length, carrying that momentum into, the first 5 meters of that, the last 50. And he just got the jump on Edwards-Smith. So he was able to hold it. And then he just kind of took off. He said he maybe cooked his legs a little bit fast over that first 100, Woodward. But, yeah, he's good. If I'd say take Josh Edwards-Smith. He wasn't too far off, but he has made his Australian debut last year. So he has been on a senior team. But I think if you're trying to get some, some more experience, especially leading into Olympic year, I think this is the year. If they have the budget, I say Swimming Australia take the people that are right on or just off it, even if they're if they're top 2, obviously.
Well, this is one of those questions I asked Rowan, though. That's one of the questions I hit with Rowan. It was basically how'd you make the policy? How do you answer questions like this? When you should take a kid or you don't take a kid. So, one of the things that Rowan said to me is they want to take the fastest team they can take, people that are going to make finals and get on podiums. They don't really want to take people that are even just possibly barely going to scrape into a semi-final at the World Championships. They want to take people who are making finals. And what he told me in this was that they're going to give these other people who are missing these qualifying times, they're going to give them plenty of opportunities in the lead up to Paris. So they're going to send a team to the US. They're going to go to Europe. They're going to do all these other things. They're going to pump a lot of money into getting them experience. So when we say, well, we should have sent them there to get experience, his comment to that is like, we're going to send them other places, but we don't want to go to the World Championships and just sit on the bench. That was basically his explanation.
Yeah. Well, Smith, he was a semi-finalist of Worlds last year. He's shown he's gone 155 this season or late last year. Late last year. So I'd be surprised if he doesn't. I'd be surprised if he doesn't go. 200 breaststroke. Stubblety-Cook 207.8. It's tough, man. I don't understand 200 breaststroke. Like, it is just the most bizarre event, and to have to do it on your own is just. It's got to be one of the toughest things to do because, correct me if I'm wrong, but unlike backstroke where, you can concentrate on yourself, you can see the whole pool. There's no one else next to him. What's this kid got to prove? He's got it all. Olympic, world record, Commonwealth. Just bring on Leon. That's what you want. You want the showdowns. You want to see the big kids come out to play, and we'll get that in Budapest, and he's looking forward to it. We're all looking forward to it.
Geez, imagine if Stubblety-Cook stubs his toe and can't get up on the block on this one. Like, look at the lack of depth in this race. I mean, he won that by 15 meters.
Yeah, it is a little bit sad when you see that. It's the same as, Kaylee McEwen racing by herself in the 200 backstroke as well. But Stubblety-Cook, obviously, if you saw his reaction at the end of the race, I don't think he was very happy with it. I think he felt like he was going a bit faster, but 207.8, he's ticked the box. He didn't have to do anything crazy. He's made the team, had a good, solid hit out. And, he might not have probably gone as fast as he would have liked. And you saw Leon go 206. So that would have played on his mind a little bit. But, he's a world record holder. The big championship is, worlds. And that's kind of where you want to take all the cookies home, not just the trials. So there's not too much. 32.9, 32.9, 32.3. You look at those, he's just consistent. He is an absolute 200 breaststroke consistency king. I'd like him, obviously to work on his turns and his starts, but 207.8, you can't really fault it at best.
Is he another 50%er, this kid? Is he at 50% for this meet?
What this kid is, I think he's the smartest swimmer, one of the smartest swimmers I've ever met. This guy is, he's on.
Cam McAvoy will have something.
Well, I reckon him and McAvoy would have a real good. They probably both play chess. I'd love to see them both take on. Yeah. He's almost savant level intelligence. Wow. This kid, and he's just such a lovely guy. Very quirky. And I had a chat to Vince about him and about. He's in a bit of a tough spot because his 200 breaststroke is world class. He's right there, the greatest of all time, the fastest ever to do it. He wants to get quicker in the 100, but you don't, to help the medley relay, if anything else, to try and get as close up there as you can. But there's a limit to what you can do that to a detriment to your 200. So it's a little bit of trying to get a little bit better at the 100, but you can't take away from the 2. He knows his weaknesses. We know his weaknesses. He gets left on the blocks at every go, but he's just incredible when he gets moving, isn't he?
Yeah. No, look, like you said, he's the greatest of all time in this one, and nothing to prove at this meet either. So, like, the 207 doesn't bother me. It probably bothers him. Like you said, he's a very smart kid. He saw what Leon did, and he sees the comments too of like, Leon's this and Leon's that. Well, he's probably like, damn it, I just went slower than the kid who's at 50%, who doesn't really swim the 2 breast. It's just like that. That's frustrating for a competitor, but ultimately, like,
I don't think he thinks, I don't think he thinks about it. I don't even think he thinks about it that way. When you're the best, when you've gone that 205, you're your own harshest critic. It's you against you. I feel like for him, he's got he has everything. There's nothing more he can win. He's won it all. So
he's still competing for a reason, though.
Well, that's it. So there's one thing, and for those that have never done, elite level sport or being close to it, it's one thing to win and be the hunter. And go after it. But then to come back and for anyone that's gone back to back to win titles, when the hunter becomes the hunted, that is another level of of competitive nature and to keep that going. So he's the hunted now. They're after him, and I think that's that's what gets him out of bed every morning. That's the exciting part of now. All eyes are on him. It's all his titles to lose, and man, what a showdown! That's going to be a great race. It's as good as 200 breaststroke can be. It is, but and I love my sister to death, but come on, breaststroke is weird. Breaststroke is weird.
Now he's one of those rare people that I haven't been able to pull onto the pod yet. I haven't been able to lure him in yet. So maybe you need some Aussie help here, Megan. You can help me out there.
Absolutely. He's actually a really interesting character. If you follow him on Instagram, he posts some pretty quirky stuff, and he's like you said, Kurt, like he's really intelligent. He's really into how he can get better as a swimmer and different dynamics of what makes up the best part of his swims and what he needs to work on. But they did a training camp over in Flagstaff, so he actually loves altitude. So they did a really good big training block over in Flagstaff with Vince. So he's fit and ready, trains super hard, and like you said, he wants to get better at the 100. But I don't think it would be any kind of different. I don't think it would be bad for his 200 to get better at the 100. I think he just needs to get a little bit more powerful. And if people can do it in the 100, like Kelly McEwen in the 100 and the 200 back, people can do it in the 100, 200 freestyle Molly-O. I know breaststroke might be a little bit different. You don't see too many people going.
I'm finding out one thing. There are 100 breaststroke and 200 breaststroke. Like they may as well be two different ends of the universe. Like they are, Petey's 200 breaststroke.
Yeah, but why can't he? As in, like,
I think it's just technical. Technical. What his stroke is obviously conducive to a 200.
I just think
I get what
he
you're
can
saying.
do it. Like, I think he can be the one that kind of breaks through and kind of smudges that only you can be a 50 or 100 breaststroke or a 200. I think he's got that, and I think I'd love to see him go faster in that 100.
Yeah. Well, we haven't really seen anyone dominate those two events. From Kitajima on. Breaststroke sucks. T-shirt, $25. Eh? That's worth it. I'll buy that.
That's your next T-shirt.
No, that is not what I would more do. A freestyle positive. Freestyle is the only stroke. Oh, who is it? Was it Michael Johnson used to make that line in athletics? It was just like they don't give away medals for running backwards or on your hands and in athletics. But anyway, we move on. 1500 free, Sam Short, mate. This dude, 5-day turnaround, 4.8.15. The history that Australia has in these distance events, and this kid's the next generation. He was brilliant at the Australian champs, and he probably the star male performer here at trials all round for sure. What was it? 2-second PB, 7th in the world this year. 2 seconds quicker than he won the Commonwealth title last year. 14:46.6.
I think he's just better too.
Yeah.
Absolutely, Sammy Short. And I loved his interview at the end. He's kind of like he's cocky and confident, but in a very good way. Like he knows he's good, but not in a really arrogant kind of way. And I love, he's just so hungry for it. He's so hungry to get better and to improve and to do PBs. And that's he just kind of wants that world stage to show how good he is. And he had a bit of smack to talk at the end in the interview. But yeah, look at those.
Who was he talking smack about?
He talks smack about going into worlds, and he can only get better, and he's going to absolutely
It's actually interesting you say that, Megan, because on the world stage right now, you got the Whiffen boys, or one of them, at the top, and then you got a bunch of guys in and around this event that all have a little bit of ego and all back themselves pretty well, and. I would say the top four or five guys in the world right now in this event all kind of feel the same way about themselves. So it's going to be interesting going into this World Championships. Let's see a little bit of swag come out in the 1500 freestyle again. That'd be pretty cool.
Well, they all think they can win, and they all can win, and none of them. Paltrinieri probably is reached his peak, but the rest of them I feel like have more to give. Every time they swim in PBs. And we speak about events to watch, women's 400, men's 100 free. Man, men's 800, 1500. It is on, and it is going to be awesome to watch. And Sammy, like epic meet for him. He backs it up. And in the Matrix where Morpheus goes to Neo and he's just like, now do you believe? And I think that's when Sammy swam at Australian champs and he took it to another level. I think he had that now do you believe, he believes moment now. He believes that, he belongs alongside some of the best, distance freestylers in the world, and rightly so, especially off the back of that 800. That was just epic.
Yeah. I think he's more suited to that 800. Like he's very good at the 1500, but that 800, he's actually got speed in the 200 as well. So, carries all the way through, and then he's got obviously, distance to back him up. But I think the 800 suits his really kind of loping stroke. He's got a really good kick, and I think that 800, I think he might do something special come Worlds. And he's a good kid, Sammy Short. He's come through the ranks and he's, broken some pretty good Australian records. Kieran Perkins in that 1500 at age group level. So he's, ticking some boxes, and I can't wait to see him, get amongst it at Worlds.
Yeah, speaking just hanging out with Sammy as well. Sorry, Hawke. I just want to talk about his stroke. And we saw that in the 800, but this Popovich galloping stroke that I just feel like is coming on all the time. And I try and explain it to people that don't know swimming that much, but I feel like swimming back in the day, your stroke was 1, 1, 1. Where now it's like, you know what I mean? It's a pouncing, galloping stroke where and that rhythm, once he gets that rhythm, we saw it in the 800, once he builds up to it. Yeah, there you go. Wolf of Wall Street style, McConaughey. But it is that galloping stroke, and it is getting more and more popular. And I don't know if we can get some sports science people on the show, but for mine, it helps you maintain your speed. Once you're in that rhythm, once you're in that galloping stroke, you can maintain your speed. You maintain it, and it just seems to be working for him just sublimely. And full credit to his coach and Damien Jones, because he's had a killer of a year so far, and he's not done.
Yeah, he's had a great meet, and look, I don't give the kid enough credit. I don't watch the distance events like I watch the sprint events, and so maybe I need to spend a little bit of time here. I haven't heard an interview from him, and people are saying he does great interviews. He's got this range that I didn't know he had. I got to do a little bit more investigating here on this Sam Short kid.
It's Sammy Short on the podcast.
Yeah, I think we need to pull him in. I did text him the other day on Instagram and said congrats. He fired straight back and said thank you. He's obviously very proud of his accomplishments. So need to do a little bit of research on this kid. He could be one to watch in the future in terms of real big names, So
yeah, mark down that 800 as well for Worlds and for the Olympics. It's going to be a good one. Right now, lucky last, the one you've all been waiting for, women's 100 freestyle.
What else happened? Anything else happen at this meet? Yeah, was there any other events?
A couple of 50s, but I think this is this is the one. And Notorious MOC does it again. A victory. We probably off the back of the 200, you thought she'd probably get the win. But come on, man, like another PB. 3 PBs at this meet? Has it all been for her? It was only a PB by 1/100th, but fastest in the world this year, a little bit quicker than what Siobhan's gone. But the depth of this women's 100 freestyle is insane. Emma, you never write off a champion. And there was pressure on Emma in this race. Can you imagine, if she doesn't go top 2, the Olympic champ doesn't get an individual swim at Worlds, the media's on her, everyone's going to be on her. Is she going to, how much more is that going to affect her in the lead up to Paris? That was a lot for her to come out off the back of what she showed in that 50 fly, which wasn't good. That goes to show how tough Emma McKeon is. And, she found a way to the wall, and you got to feel for Shayna Jack, 52.64. Come on, man. That wins everywhere else and just not in Australia.
Yeah, well, listen, I think it was just one of the greatest race calls in the history of race calling. So I paused it right here. We're going to go to the call. We have to listen to this. It's too good. I'm sorry, guys. I understand why they benched you for this. It makes a lot of sense to me now. Let's have a listen if we can. Don't tell me Nate muted this. Can you guys mute yourselves, and then I'll try it. Nate, come on. You got to give us some sound here, Nate. Please don't do this to me. He's working in the background. Come on, Nate. Come on, Nate. Give us the
It's
sound.
the biggest build-up, and for any race, you don't want it to happen on the 100 freestyle for women. It's like probably the most depth you've seen, and it comes down to.
Well, while we're getting that going, can we just, I guess, can we kind of agree that for the 100 free for women, 52 is a bit like a 47 for men?
Yeah.
And that it probably is. It's the equivalent. So all of a sudden you've got Molly 52.4, Emma 52.5, Shayna 52.6. That's like going 47.4, 47.5, 47.6. That's insane. Like that's great. You're talking about what 4 of the top 7 times in the world this year. Meg Harris goes at 53.09. I thought that was a great swim by her off the back of a 200 that wasn't very impressive. And I feel for Shayna for sure, but she'll be back in the 50 tomorrow. You think Shayna and probably Meg in the 50. Emma, that's going to be a tough one also, but far out. This is where the bit where you go, wow, why can't Shayna go, and why can't we take 3 Australians? Because when you're the 3rd or 4th fastest in the world and you're going to have to watch the race from the grandstand, it's annoying, but them's the facts.
Check Molly's split, 26.9 on the second 50 of 100. I mean, she's 0.4 faster than anybody else. Yeah, she is a little bit slower out, 25.5, but and that's how she swims. She swam it in that 200 as well, but that turn, her skills, and I think she grabs that momentum off the turn, and she can see that she's chasing them down. So, Molly, and if you watch the finish without, the commentating as well, but she has a really long finish for Molly. Usually she's quite kind of, pretty short on the finish, but if you see it, I thought she was going to actually take another stroke and get touched out, but she has a super long touch, kind of on the side, a bit like, Ian Thorpe used to do, and probably started that phase. Right. But I watched that and I thought, she's her skills are just better than anyone there. So
Nate, come on, Nate, give us some sound on this video, please. No, give us sound.
This is going to be a fight to the very end. Everyone is standing up on their seats. Shayna Jack looking to be just out in front. Emma McKeon, who is it going to be? And it is...
First of all, there's no crowd. No one was standing up on their seats. She called the wrong person. She had, it was a touchpad error. We found out later, but my God, she just left us hanging there, didn't she?
No, well, I don't think so. They were saying that if you looked on the side of the TV, right? I thought I saw it on it said 52.48. I don't know if it would have come up because you might have cut it too short, but when they finished the scoreboard on the TV, it came up 52.48, and then it disappeared, right? And then it went 52.5 for Emma. And they're saying it was a soft touch, and then it readjusted. But I saw the 52.48, so I'm not too sure what actually happened.
Yeah.
But
listen, as professional commentators, both of you who should have been there, I'll say it. You don't have to say it. You should have been there. You should have been calling these races. Both of you, the best callers we have in Australia, sitting on the sidelines. Come on. But anyway, if there's a situation like that, Kurt, where that happens, what do? You don't just freeze. What do you do?
I think you just talk through it. It's part of the story. So you say, whatever, the clock's frozen, we'll wait for the results, or, how tight was that? Silence is not golden.
I think you just would have said, that was a super close race. I would have said, I think Molly O's got it, but let's wait for, the decision and see how close you are. I think you got to just kind of flow with it and be honest with it, yep, there's a technical error. That's it. Yeah.
But we've all had moments when calling races where it's frozen and we've had to wait for it, and sometimes you can build that into a bit of suspense as well. And but
just experience comes down to experience.
It comes with experience. That's it. It comes with experience, and we'll figure it out one day. But come on, Molly O's. What you probably rank her second behind Kaylee as a top performer at these trials, and the thing with Molly, and we've spoken about it yesterday, today, the skills, all of that. She goes to Tokyo. She wins 2 gold and a bronze. Didn't swim a final. Didn't race a final. We all know should have been at least in that 4x2 that blew up, and they shot themselves in the foot with that. she's got unfinished business for starters. And I think not racing a final there in Tokyo, coming back last year, she shredded last year. She wanted to do everything. Crush Commonwealth Games, crush Worlds, won Australian Swimmer of the Year. And now back here, look at this future. Summer's 17. Molly is 19. Regan's 21. Kaylee's, 22 next month. Man.
Yeah.
It's interesting in that 100. I don't know if you guys listen to Molly, and she is I reckon, probably the most fun to ever either interview or listen to interview. Listen to her getting interviewed. She is so quirky, and I just love the energy she brings, because you don't actually know what she's going to say, which is even better. But she when she dived off the block, she was a bit scared, she said, because she heard the kicker. So the clicker wasn't clicked in properly, and she heard it kick back. And she said she panicked a little bit because she didn't know kind of what happened. So she was a little bit kind of, a little bit antsy off the start. So
Right.
Interesting. It's not much. It might be a little bit. But to go that time, when we know that it's a slow pool, I think for the Aussies, overall, if they can swim those times, in a slow pool and whatever, and 50% rested, I'm excited for Worlds. I'm really, really excited for them.
Yeah, we've still got another day. The women's 50 still to go, so we could see the same three battle again, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm back in Shayna. I've called that 100 a little while ago. You asked me, Hawke, who was going to win the 100 at trials, and I said Molly. And Molly gave me a bit of chat too, because I didn't back him.
That's right.
But he's super qualified, so that's okay. The top two. But I think I like Shayna in the 50. I think she's got something to prove. She'll be disappointed after that 100. And I'd love to see her. She's had a really tough few years, and I'd love to see an individual spot for this World Championships.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if disappointed that disappointed that you didn't go top two. Yeah, but man, 52 sit, it's just unfair. It's 52.64, and you've just got to be like, what? Spoken enough about Molly. There's not much more we can say about her. I just want to touch again on Emma and the pressure that she had her pressure coming, into this race as the Olympic champion, against this field, knowing that you had to go top two to get this swim at Worlds. What more can we say about her? And she doesn't get the credit that she probably deserves, and I think that's just on her personality. She's quiet, she's not an extrovert, she goes about her biz, and much the same as kind of Katie Ledecky, the same as well. If Katie was an extrovert and if Emma were extroverts and they were sponsored by this and doing ads for this and on TV all the time, and they're not that personality. You can't make someone be something they're not. And so for Emma to do what she's done, she's 30 next year. And so she's got, this is it. This is the swan song. She wants to go and try and defend that title. And we've spoken to Meg about this before. This is a great stat, Hawke, that no Australian woman has defended their Olympic individual title since Dawn did the three-peat, back in 56, 60, 64 and the 100 free. So, there's a lot of girls there with chances to do it. Obviously, Kaylee's got the chance, Arnie's got the chance, and Em's got the chance as well. And I think that's a huge stat, and one that I think will be driving all three of those.
Yeah, that'd be nice. So we can just stop talking about Dawn Fraser for a second. But Dawn deserves it. You can't crap on Dawn. Come on, what kind of Aussie are you if you do that?
We love Dawny.
We do love Dawn, but it'd be good for someone to come in and take that mantle. And we have some incredible talent out there in the pool. Now, a little bit of talk about, again, how the women are overshadowing the men for the Aussie team. Megan, what do you think about that?
I think it's been like that maybe for a little bit, but I think the men's team, I think they're building. I think they're kind of in that little bit of a rebuild phase, as in there's some good youngsters coming through. You got, Kai Taylor's only quite young. Sammy Short's only quite young. Stubblety-Cook, world record holder. Elijah Whittington, world champion last year. So, and, backstroke is coming through. Isaac Cooper is still quite young. Woodward's been around for a little bit, but I think they're building. I think they're definitely, they went through, after, Eamon Sullivan retired and, James Magnuson retired, Lauderstein, they had to rebuild. You have to rebuild. Any team needs to rebuild. And I think the women, we just didn't really have that gap because it just kept kind of on, kind of just pass the baton on. But I think, the women are very, very good. But I think the men don't take the credit away from them either. But I think overall, you're only as good as your team. So I think either female or male, they're going to do really well.
Yeah, it's cyclical. You know it, Hawke. Like, it's some years you got your men's team stronger than the women. Sometimes it's reversed. You were there in the turn of the century, the golden era. It was it was pretty even. But gee, that men's team was headlined by Thorpe, Hackett, Matt Welsh, Justin Norris. Like they were firing all over the shop.
Yes, I agree, and to some extent, if you look at world coaching. There are coaches that do better with female athletes and coaches that do better with male athletes. If I'm going to put myself into a category, I'd absolutely say I do better with male athletes. It's just my track record. I've done well with them, and I connect well with the men. I kind of get them going. Is there a lack of coaches in Australia you think that maybe do better with men right now? Or is there are there more coaches in Australia that do better with women is what I'm saying maybe?
No, I don't think so. I think it's luck of the draw. It's a bit the same. Do you think, Vince Raleigh there at Chapman, do you think he woke up and thought, before I know it, I'm going to be coaching a 200 breaststroker and a 200 fly? You don't know. It's like a lucky dip for a lot of it. You don't know what you're going to get. You might start out, thinking I'm going to be a distance freestyle coach, and all of a sudden you've got an epic breaststroker. And from what Megan and I saw at Australian Age Championships, which this is what I absolutely love about this next generation. These kids don't care about the events. I'm going to swim an 800 freestyle. Then I'm going to go swim a 200 breaststroke. And Leon shows this as well. They're doing these crazy mixes of events. Now, it's not like, I just do 50, 100 free, or, oh, no, I only swim like 100 back and I won't do anything else. And these kids do everything. And I think for a modern coach, they've got to be up for everything and anything because you just don't know what your kid's going to throw at you. I think the thing with the coaching men or boys now is it's changed with that next generation, and this is not to say that they're softer, but they're more thinkers. It's not about you've got to do this, and it's not the Don Talbot typewriter on the chest kind of stuff that old school coaching, and we've seen that in all professional sport now. You got to take them a little bit easier. It's not about pushing them, every day and scream. I don't know. Some people may still like to be screamed at, but I don't. It's everyone's different. But I know from my experience, like even just going to training at the gym or with a personal trainer or whatever, I'm like, mate, I'm here to do the work. Just talk to me. I'm Barry's boot camp. You don't have to scream at me to get me to do the work. So I think in the coaching ranks. I think there's certainly a different way to coach boys coming through these days. Whereas I feel like with coaching girls coming through, and you see that with Dean, they are, they're much more resilient. You can give them a lot of work. They respond to it. They rise to it. And I'm not going to, put them all in the same box. But from what I've seen, and even myself coaching girls in surf club and surf sports, they can't get enough work. You give them the work and they just want more. And they really love the tough stuff. But everyone's different. But it's that depth of coaching in Australia is just huge. It's huge. We saw that at Australian Age Champs, and same with you talk about everyone's moving to Queensland. It's really exciting to see that. We had young girls going awesome from Darwin. WA's got a great base, and some of the top five power clubs are from New South Wales. So those young kids are there's a big future down there for them.
I hope so. I hope we do get a resurgence in New South Wales. It's my home state. Growing up in Maroubra in Sydney, it's just it was always a hotbed for swimming, man, and it's just sad to see it kind of dwindled away. And so, maybe in the future there might be a situation where I go back and kind of give it a little spark.
Well, it's a tough model, and this is the model I'll kind of explain it for US viewers as well. Is that you stay in your program as a kid, wherever that is in Australia, you grow up through that program, and then you start to get to that kind of end of high school, college kind of age, and then you've got some decisions to make. And where Queensland kind of wins is they have a lot of their programs either tied to a university or tied to a high school. And when they're offering scholarships for you to come up and be like, well, I'm swimming my backside off. Why would I not take a full scholarship to go there? And I've just said Swimming Australia's just signed a deal with Griffith University as well, doing some stuff with them there. And so it's going to be, it'll be interesting to see. And I think the future of Swimming Australia as well, love it or hate it, is going to be similar to a US model with those, I think, with those colleges, with those university systems. Yeah.
Well, I've been screaming for that for a long time. So I think that's good news if they are moving in that direction. I think it's absolutely needed. You know, like you miss an Australian team and you've put off, you know, going to college for a couple of years and all of a sudden you're at the back burn. Like, you know, why can't you just do both at the same time? So there's plenty of schools over in Australia, plenty of colleges, plenty of great places with pools. Sydney Uni has a pool, for God's sake. I train there. So it's like, give these kids some scholarships to come to university, get an education at the same time, and then have something to fall back on. And then it takes away that pressure of someone like the 100 breaststroker who has the weight of the world on their shoulders because, you know, everything relies on them. And if it doesn't go well, then they've got nothing to fall back on. So it's like, yeah, I just think the system would be better that way. This is going to be our last one. We don't have one tomorrow. I've got to go. It's Father's Day here. Is it Father's Day in Australia or is it different Father's Day?
I hope
not. You might have your phone ringing.
Sorry, Dad.
It's Father's Day. So I got to go pick up my girls tomorrow. So we're not doing the show tomorrow. So this is the last one. So in terms of what we can predict, I'm excited to see Cam McAvoy, Megan. Anything else tomorrow? The women's 50 as well, right?
Yeah, women's 50 free, men's 50 free. And I think I'd love to see Cammy McAvoy go quick. I'd love to see Shayna Jack go quick. I'd love to see, I'd love to see him go pretty quickly. The men's 100 fly is also going to be on, so that's going to be pretty good. The 100 fly, you've got Maddie Temple.
Temple will get through there easy, won't he?
Yeah, and you've got a few. I'm pretty sure Kyle Chalmers is going to do the 100 fly. Cody Simpson, I'd love to see him get up and try and go faster. The 100 fly, 50 free. I'm not sure.
400 IMs, Brendan Smith.
400 IM. Interesting to see though. 400 IM.
C-Bomb Lee.
Yeah, Kaylee McEwen's not doing the 400 IM for women, even though it's on the last day. Even though she'd dominate. She has checked out, so she's not doing it. Yeah, Brendan Smith, C-Bomb Lee, 400 IM. So, I'm excited to see it. If we're not gonna do a show tomorrow, I'm gonna jump on Twitter and cause some stir, like I always do. So let's give us a follow on Twitter if you want some fun stuff. I reckon.
Where can they find you? Where is? Put it in the comments actually, and I'll put it up on the screen. Put your Twitter up.
I'm pretty sure I'm just Megan_Nay. I'm pretty sure that's just me, or it's Nay_Megan, either or.
Let me have a look. I'll do a quick search. You guys keep talking. Yeah. I'll look for you.
Well, I was just going to say, regardless of what happens tomorrow, standouts from the Australian champs. Kaylee crushes it. That 100 back was the swim of the meet, just 05 off a world record. Very closely followed by Molly, 3 PBs. 153.8 and a 200 free, 5th fastest all time. Continues to get better in the 100 back. Her 100 free was, right there again. Sam Short, dude, 4.8, 1500, all brilliant across 5 days of competition. Kyle's 100 was wicked, and
it's Southam. I like that kid.
Yeah, Flynn's wicked. Yeah. Flynn's awesome as well, and as much as we say we've got the future's bright with the likes of Molly and Kaylee and even Arnie to a certain extent, I just want to touch on Arnie for one thing as well. With when all that retirement, I don't know where all the retirement talk came up in the media. I think she kind of brought it on herself in that I think in her mentality, her way to get through is that, well, if I wanted to wrap it up at the end of Paris, then I've only got 3 world-class 400s left in my career, if that's the way to, think about it. Not saying that she would, but that's what gets you through. Like, man, this could be only one of only the final 4 opportunities I get to race, a 400 or an 800 at this level. So I think that came across. That's not what she meant, that I'm going to pull the pin at the end of Paris. And so I'm glad that she came out and just set the record straight. It was just like, no. Like, that's,
it's easy to twist something like that.
Yeah, so it just got twisted a bit there, and that's what the stories you tell yourself to get yourself through the tough times as well. Yeah. For sure. So I think
Megan, how are you watching the meet?
I'm watching through a VPN on 9 Now.
Oh well, yeah. Here we go. We got some advice for you here. Why don't you set up your? Can you go live on Twitter? I think you can, can't you?
Oh, let's give it a go.
I think you can go live on Twitter, and you could set up your own stream where people can come and listen to you commentate while you watch it.
Let's have some fun. I mean, I've been kind of watching parts on mute, so let's be honest. I'd love to commentate my own one.
Yeah, I will go live on Twitter. There we go. We just gave you something to do tomorrow. Everybody get on Megan's Twitter. She's going to go live commentary, I think.
No, don't give him something you're not getting paid for. That's what I would do.
I absolutely love it. And for the first time, like when I retired from swimming in 2015, I hated swimming, hated it, didn't want anything to do with it. So now I've fallen back in love with swimming, like I kind of a lot of swimmers do. And for me, I just think those athletes train so hard and they don't get the $1 million paychecks that some sports do. And I just want to put their stories, and I want to tell I want to tell the world how good they are, because they are absolute superstars. And I just think some of their profiles and some of their stats are just not getting kind of the airtime that they deserve. And the sport, I think swimming in Australia, come Commonwealth Games, come Olympics, we are the number one sport. Everyone watches swimming. But in between, it's a really hard sport. You see them maybe once a year. So we can try and just talk about swimming all the time, whether it's for free or whether I get paid really well for it. I just love it. I absolutely love it. And I want to tell, anyone who's going to listen about swimming and about those athletes, because some of them deserve a lot more than they're getting right now. Absolutely.
Well, listen, you deserve a lot more too. So everybody that comes into the stream tomorrow, it's $1. All right. You come into the stream, you give her $1. And let's try and get, $1,500 here for this call tomorrow. Let's get 1,500 people into this,
I think the shout out to Swimming Australia, World Swimming, everyone involved. We're not in the sport business. We're in the entertainment business. And when you watch the NBA, sure, the basketball's great, but it's what comes with that. It's the Stephen A. Smiths of the world. It's the Skip Baylesses. They're on every morning. And then during those programs as well, it's it's that NBA Game Time crew of like Ernie and Shaq and Charles Barkley. Like those guys are and Kenny the Jet Smith. Those guys are a classic. Like they're so good. They love the sport. They're passionate. They joke around. They create the narratives, and they love the storytelling. And I think what swimming lacks at all levels is that storytelling. And
not anymore, mate. Not anymore, mate.
Knowing about the sport, you've got to know about swimming to talk about swimming.
And you've got to have the love. You've got to have the love. You've got to have the love for it. The sport needs it, and it's not about employing someone to come in and commentate a race. Like anyone can come in. Lane 4's winning, and lane 3's in second, and lane 2, and lane 4 wins the race. Yeah. No, it's like. Lane 4's the world record holder, and lane 3's the fastest time this year. And lane 2 used to be the former world record holder, and lane 1's the Olympic champion. And if he beats him, then he'll be the greatest of all time. And that's the passion. And explain to someone who doesn't know anything about swimming, why should I care about this? Why does this matter? And I think that's
I think trials right now, if you watch the live stream, it's an hour long, which is perfect. Sometimes it can go too long. I think 45 minutes, otherwise I kind of lose concentration a little bit. 45 minutes, make it exciting. I think the US trials, they do it absolutely amazing, whether it's Olympic trials or whatever, and we'll see it in a few weeks. They absolutely dominate it. Like the lights, the crazy stuff that goes on, the commentary, they give out free, merchandise. Everyone wants to be a part of it. And it's a huge stadium. And I know, obviously, they've got more people, the population and all that kind of stuff, but they do it super well. And I just think it can be so much more exciting in Australia, whether you, shoot bloody merchandise out of a gun into the crowd, make it exciting, play some games. I don't know what else you can do, but Just
But just
make it exciting.
get a table on pool. And I promise you right now, this is not happening at Worlds. Like World Swimming's not having a desk on pool deck with 2 hosts or 3 hosts there that know their stuff, and they're pulling swimmers in and they're pulling coaches in, and they've got a show and they've got a pre-show and they've got a post-show. They're not going to have that, and this stuff is just basic 101. And when you're against, all these other sports, we're in a battle. We're in a battle for eyeballs. We're in a battle for sponsors. It's there for the taking. So, help us, help you. Like, we want to do it. And let's take it.
Well, listen, there's nothing like our show that we're doing here out on the internet. We're the only ones doing it, and we have the best race callers in the world on here right now. Appreciate you guys doing this for us. It's been awesome. Love talking swimming. You guys are so thoughtful and so, analytical and so energetic, and you just bring so much to it. I appreciate it. Loved having you. Love hearing the Aussie accent again, too. I don't get enough of that over here in America, so it's nice to catch up with everybody. Yeah, tons of people in the chat for the past few days. So thanks for everyone joining us. It's been fun. We'll probably do something again for US trials. We'll decide probably an hour before, we'll do something, and we'll just put it up.
Just give me a little bit more notice.
Yeah, I'll give you some more notice. You guys are awesome. Thanks, guys. Take care.
Thanks, Hawke. See you soon, guys.
Bye.